Hey guys, this is Brinibsquare. I am a PK, a youth pastor, a Christian author, and a psychology major. I feel like kind of reintroducing myself, just for the sake of just reintroducing myself. So my name is Brittney, and I go by Brini because I am half Honduran, half Caucasian, and my Hispanic family, specifically my grandmother, could never really say my name. So she always called me Brini. And that's why my Instagram, my TikTok, my YouTube have all been Brini B squared. Some people have asked me that, why did you call yourself Brini? And I'm like, well, it's my nickname. Also at my church is bilingual, half Hispanic, half American. And people at my church call me Brini. Hola Brini, ¿cómo estás Brini? And literally sometimes they think that my name is actually Brini, but my name is Brittney. But I go by both. I don't mind. I was born in a Christian household. Both my parents are pastors. My parents didn't become pastors until I was around 6 years old. Born and raised from LA, specifically around the edge of LA. So I would say like Bellflower, Paramount, Downey, around there. My church is in Orange County, and currently right now I actually live in Riverside. So my life is all over the place. So I am a psychology major, and I decided to become a psychologist because I love psychology. I love to give, especially to the youth, to young adults. I give a lot of spiritual advice, but also a lot of psychology advice, more towards like the personality type, the love languages. For a long time, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. In the beginning of my life, I thought I wanted to be a vet. Surprise! I wanted to be a veterinarian when I was little, and my parents supported me, and started buying me a lot of books on vet stuff, animal stuff. Turns out I took a zoology class, and I was like, no, thank you. Then I thought I wanted to be a film director, so I did try film director, and then that didn't work out, even though I did go and work with a Christian film director. His name is Travis Brown. I almost forgot. So yes, I worked with Travis Brown, and he let me show up in one of his movies, like teeny a little bit. Anyways, in the end, I find, as I've always been working with children since I was 6 years old. I volunteered at church since I was 6. I became a youth pastor at the age of 21, and I worked TA since I was 6 years old, and I'm 31 now. 31 and baby face. Like, how do you have a baby face? Thank you for asking. Some of it is DNA. My mom is technically half black, half she's also Latina, but then she got Native American blood. So not a lot of people know this, but Honduras is a very mixed, like, background. My grandfather was Garifuna, and Garifuna is actually African mixed with islanders from the Caribbeans. So that's where my curly hair comes from. That's why I can tan easily, and like from my family side of the family, if you see a lot of our photos, like some of my family is actually darker because of the Garifuna blood, which is a tribe. I only speak a few words of Garifuna. I don't know a lot of Garifuna words, just a few. And for a fact, Hondurans speak a different Spanish compared to, like, let's say Mexico, or a little bit more similar to Spain. My great grandfather was actually pure Spaniard, and that was my mother's grandfather. As for my own father, he is Caucasian mixed with a quarter Mexican. So if you see him, he speaks way better Spanish than I do. He is also English from Wales mixed from Pennsylvania, because my father's mom was originally from Pennsylvania. She got the whole world in her blood. The Lord has been using me a lot since I was little. I think the first time the Lord used me to prophesy, I was 7 years old. Now, why don't some prophets show off that they're prophets? Well, I'm more like an introvert. I'm an ambivert, so I'm a social introvert. If I'm in front of people, I'm like not shy to talk to people. I'm not shy to introduce myself. Even in social media, I'm not shy to like talk to people. But still, like, I'm an INTJ, and my personality type kind of beckons me to want to spend more time with myself, to get away from too much of the crowd. I always tell God, like, I'm not going to prove to people that the Lord does use me. Instead, I'm just going to let God use me whenever He wants to use me. God has also used me in the choir since when I was 6, I started volunteering in prison worship, first in the children's area, obviously, because I was 6, and now even up to today with like young adults and teens. I think one of the biggest things that were a part of my life is that I was born with half my brain underdeveloped. I had a learning disability, and learning disability, it was kinetic. It had, like, I learned better with my hands. I had two things growing up. One was speech delay, and the other one was slow cognitive learning. Speech delay meant that I had issues speaking, so that's why even up to today, like, I can speak better. But I choose more to slow down and listen to people rather than speak first. And it has to do with the fact that it was from a habit that I grew up. Slow cognitive learning, the Lord healed me from both, I would say. Ever since the age of 16 in high school, a prophet came to me, prayed for me. The Lord gave me back to have a more average understanding, but there are still cases where I'm like, I don't know what that is, so I am going to ask. Why? Because I'm not, and especially if you learn about INTJs, I'm very intellectual. I'm very like, okay, I would like to know what is the root of this, where did this come from? So that's why I felt like psychology definitely ended up being my niche, because it helps me understand more about a lot of things, like normal cues, social cues, and even body language. Oh, I love learning about like observation, and that's something that me and my dad kind of made a game out of it. Whenever we watch a movie, me and him specifically enjoy guessing like what's gonna happen next, and he tells me like, Brittney, you're such a good guesser. I'm like, observation. I am an author. I have 2 books that are published right now. One is called First Love, A Virgin's Diaries, but the full title is First Love by Brittney and Balas, Balas, Balas. I wrote that because in honor of the fact that I am still waiting on God for my husband. I am a virgin at 31, yes, and people sometimes find that like, oh my gosh, like what's wrong with her? Like, have you never been asked out? Like, no one was interested in you or something like that? And I'm like, you know what? People were interested in me, and sometimes I had a crush on guys, but like I never went for it. I never went beyond getting to know a person, because I always ask God first. First off, when you're like, your ears are spiritually open, when your ears are spiritually open, it's harder to do what you want to do. Like, even if you want to say yes to a really good guy and you're like, you know what, I think he's a nice guy, and God's like, nope, that's not the one, and I'm like, man, I gotta say no. My second book is called The Joseph Gift, and of course it's by me, Brittney and Balas. Now, before I explain how God put this book in my heart, The Joseph Gift, how to interpret dreams, I'm going to read Job 33:14-18. For God speaks in one way and in two, though man does not perceive it. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls on men while they slumber on their beds, then he opens the ears of men and terrifies them with warnings, that he may turn man aside from his deed and conceal pride from a man. He keeps back his soul from the pit, his life from perishing by the sword. Not all dreams are from God, but I do believe God does speak to us through dreams, and this is just one of the ways that God speaks to us. Here's also my other book, First Love. I am giving classes on the Joseph Gift, and I just pray whoever wants those classes receives it by faith. Tengan buen día, God bless you, and siente bunu.